we are joined by David Schroeder of Monetary Gold, which I just highlighted, a great new sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. Pleasure to have you, David, as the Bank of America just gave that big warning that the dollar is on the verge of collapse. The dollar has lost approximately 10% of its value even since the beginning of the year, and that debt grows every 100 days by trillions and trillions, even with these good new policies coming from Washington, D.C. So how can the American people preserve their wealth and their retirement in uncertain times?
Hey, Robert. Well, probably the simplest thing to do is to diversify some of your financial assets into precious metals. And when I say that, most people would recommend maybe 30 to 40% of your assets be diversified. And the reason why we say that is because if the stock market is to collapse, or if the dollar was to really collapse and be valueless, gold and silver and other precious metals, they still maintain their value. So there's 6,000 years of recorded human history. And for 6,000 years, there's been the use of gold and silver as a way to trade and to buy and to barter. So precious metals is probably the most easy way to protect yourself. And when you protect yourself, literally, if you lost all of your stocks in the stock market, that 30 or 40% you still have in precious metals, you would not be wiped out. You would still have money in your hands that you could still buy, sell, trade, barter with, and you would not lose everything.
Walk us through this new gold guide as well from Monetary Gold, how you can preserve that wealth and your commodities. What kind of options are in the magazine? I love the feature that has President Trump right on the front.
So that's our gold guide. And basically it's our presidential gold guide. And basically what it does is it breaks down all of the things that are going on in the country and globally on the pressures that are coming onto the dollar. And so when we have like BRICS, for instance, we have de-dollarization, we have, like you said, the debt is growing by $1 trillion every 100 days. So the guide talks about all of these things, and then it kind of gives you a game plan or helps you devise a game plan so that you can actually move forward in your finances. And literally, if everything were to collapse, Robert Kiyosaki talks about the everything bubble. The everything bubble is the banking system, the Federal Reserve, the stores, the credit system, everything collapsing around us. And if that were to happen, the only people who would survive would be those who have some precious metals, because now they have a way to buy and sell. And so the guide kind of goes through all of those things and explains this is what's going on in the world, and here are some of the options that you can do to kind of protect yourself.
And break down BRICS for us, because sometimes the viewers might ask, just what the heck are these nations and what are they doing? And how does it ultimately relate as well to these ongoing peace negotiations, especially in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, because it might end up affecting your wallet?
Right. So BRICS started out as a block of 5 nations. It has now grown into approximately 140 nations that are all wanting to get into the new BRICS digital dollar. It's not our dollar, it will be their currency. And basically what happens is when that currency goes live, those nations will then stop using the dollar and they will begin to use that digital currency, which will then, right now we have the ability to, like Cuba, for instance, we can put up, say, hey, you're doing this, this, and this, and we're not going to let you do that, and so we're going to kind of cut you off. We have control with the dollar. With the BRICS digital currency, we won't have that ability to take rogue nations and put a stop to them. We won't be able to say, hey, don't do this, or we're going to cut you off and you won't be able to use the dollar, or whatever that looks like. And so when these nations come together and create a currency, that eliminates the use of the dollar. That is going to put pressure on the dollar and make the value of the dollar go down even further. And if we lose 140 nations using the dollar as their foundation, that's going to hurt America. It's going to hurt us in ways we can't even fathom. And worse, for those that are preparing to retire or are already retired, the value of their paper assets are going to lose value almost overnight. I mean, they're going to probably collapse, to be honest. And so we can't control China. You know, China is heading this. India is one of the nations that's heading this. And there are a lot of rogue nations that want to jump on board and say, hey, we don't want to use the dollar. We don't like America. We want to stay with this. And so the BRICS digital currency is a currency that will block out the US and allow rogue nations to do whatever they want without any interference from the rest of the global nations.
We saw a preview of this really in the last administration under Joe Biden in regards to the petrodollar with Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. It was a highlight truly post World War II and what George H.W. Bush referred to as the New World Order within his State of the Unions, which kind of got us scratching our heads in the late 80s and early 90s. New World Order, it sounds kind of science fiction, but we see these global alliances that in turn can harm the United States. And of course, a communist movement that was once put to quiet back post Ronald Reagan and all of the amazing work he did of peace through strength kind of rear its ugly head. And sadly, you know, in the States here, even with our elections, we have people that are full-blown communists, like in New York City, running for the mayor's office. So how can gold and silver, these precious commodities, truly protect the American citizen against the collapsing dollar?
So it will give you, like I said earlier, if everything were to collapse, and if you had, let's say you have a value of $100,000 in your retirement account or in your bank account, and you've put, let's say, $35,000 into precious metals, but you've lost everything else, you're not wiped out. You still can get up in the morning and know, hey, I still have life. I still have assets. My wealth has not been taken from me. It's not been wiped out. Even though things are collapsing around me, I can still walk out into the world with my head held high because I'm not wiped out. I still have financial assets, and I can take those assets and I can turn them into, you know, actual physical money if I need to. I can trade them for dollar bills and go and I can do whatever. But if the dollar has no value, then we're going to be trading literally in gold and silver. And I think right now there are 24 states that have already passed legislation that gold and silver is now a legal tender in those states. And then on top of that, I think there are 6, maybe 7 other nations that have pending legislation to allow silver and gold to be a legal tender once again in those states. So no matter what happens, if all the world fell apart and you have some of your assets in precious metals, you aren't wiped out. You're not dead. And if you remember back in the 1920s when we had the great stock crash, we had people jumping out of windows in New York and in California because they were wiped out as soon as the stock market crashed. They didn't sell in time or their stocks were valueless. They committed suicide. If you have metals, you're not going to be jumping out of a window.
Yes, absolute tragedies that have happened, and history can teach us this from many nations, as you mentioned, David, for the whole of human history, dating back 6,000 years. And our friend Robert Kiyosaki, among others, who really have detailed this very, very clearly. Now, RSBN for the gold.com is where everyone can go for the presidential gold catalog to really look at what would help their assets and to permanently stop those IRA fees. Do you have any specials running or anything else happening at Monetary Gold that might make a big difference for everyone who wants to act immediately? Because sometimes time is of the essence, and many of our viewers might not have these backup assets of gold and silver to make sure that they don't lose out. God forbid the dollar collapses.
Time is of the essence. And so we have a special going on right now for your viewers where we will actually cover all of their IRA fees for the life of their account. But they have to call right now. This is good until the end of the month, and this is for the RSBN viewers. And so we will cover all of those fees for life. And if you have any wealth, if you've got 150,000 plus in your account, you know that those annual fees, those add up. After 10 years, you've spent thousands just in fees, where those fees could actually go back into purchasing more assets to help grow your wealth and protect you. So if you call now, we are offering the opportunity to have all of your fees covered for the life of your account.
Well, David, we look so forward to this partnership and to really being with the best in the business. It's Monetary Gold. Can you give us some thoughts on the Kennedy Center Awards? Because I see all those beautiful guitars behind you, and you're a musician yourself. So what do you think about some of these nominees and President Trump hosting the gala that will be in December of this year, right around the holidays?
I think it's phenomenal. I don't know all of the people who've been chosen to be for these awards, but I think that it's fantastic that they've chosen Trump to be the one who awards these, and I love it. I am a musician. I've played all my life. It's a way for me to relieve all the stress at the end of the day, from all of the work, from all the chaos, from family, from children, from everything. But I love the fact that it's Trump getting to do it, and not some wild comedian or somebody else.
And arguably, he has been the comedian in chief over the course of
Yes.
the last year. But thank you
Yes.
again, David Schroeder of Monetary Gold. We look forward to seeing you again, sir, on Right Side Broadcasting Network at RSBN4thegold.com. We're helping everyone get financially stable and secure with gold, silver, and those precious commodities. So thanks for your comments today.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to you soon.